you're going to be working with selecting peppers. First, log into Blackboard, go to your course content, selection and navigation tools. This is your topic. And within there, you'll want to go to selecting peppers. You're going to open the directions, selection, peppers document to follow along the directions. The document you will need is peppers.psd. When that downloads, if you are in Google Chrome, it will appear on the bottom left. You can just click open. Once you are in the Photoshop workspace, you can begin your project. To begin, I would first save it to your USB file. So you would go to File, Save As, this PC, and you would locate which on your computer would be right under here, Devices and Drives, USB, and find your name underneath that. You're going to always call your project last name, underscore, and whatever the project title is. So for example, selecting peppers. You will want to keep it as a PSD, which is a Photoshop document. Your next task is to get all of these peppers, which are currently on one layer, onto separate layers. So if you see, if I hide this document, they are all on one layer. So first, we're going to use our navigation tools. So we will zoom in, and you'll want to use your quick selection tool. Quick selection is listed right here on the toolbar. It may be hidden, so you may have to click and hold and choose quick selection. The way this works is you will be painting from the center outward. Your brush cannot be larger than the size of your image. So for example, my brush currently is larger than the size of the pepper stem. So I would want to make that smaller. And I will begin in the center and paint outward and just click a few times to get that racing ants, which means it is now selected. Once something is selected, then you can change or copy, paste, cut, whatever it is you want to do with that selection. In this case, what we're going to do is, and if you messed up, you can click on the minus, and that will allow you to bump those items or selection in. Plus allows you to select it back out. Once you have that selected, you would want to click on the Refine Edge tool. And what this does is I'm going to keep it, my view I can change to whatever I would like, but I'm going to keep it with this red overlay. And this is just for viewing purposes. You'll want to smooth the edge out, and you'll see as I'm moving this smooth, you can see how the edge is changing. You only want to smooth it out a little bit, I would say no more than 15 pixels. And then you can hit OK. Once you have done that, you'll want to go to Edit, Copy, or Control-C on the keyboard as a shortcut, Edit, Paste, or Control-V on your keyboard as a shortcut. Now, it doesn't look like anything happened, but if you look over here to your tools, to your layers, you can see that you now clearly have that pepper selected on its own layer by itself. You can freely move that pepper around, and it is no longer connected with this background layer. So, what I'm going to do is zoom back out so you can see. And you can say Fit on Screen, you can say Control-0 on your keyboard, and that will all do the same function, which is to zoom back out. Alright, so this is the background layer, which you have And what I'm asking you to do is get each individual pepper selected individually so they are separate on their own layers here. So I currently have the green one. I'm going to just move that green layer to the top up here so I don't get confused and I know which peppers I have selected. Also, if you see where this has a hard bounded box, so before it was a dotted line, now it's a hard bounded box, I need to either hit enter to accept that I moved that, or there was a little checkbox up here, so I'll show you. Now you can see how it has that hard box again. I can hit the check mark and that will allow me to then move it. What these little boxes are, or lines out here, is how you would resize, turn, or move it. So if I want to resize this particular layer, I would go to Edit, Free Transform. If I want to resize it to be larger or smaller, I can hold Shift and drag in or out. I can turn it or do whatever I wish. Again, you can hit Enter, or you can choose to hit this little checkbox. So your goal is going to be to continue to get the rest of these peppers on their own layer. Now you will need to click on each of the layers. So for example, I'm currently on this layer, which is just this green pepper right here. So if I want to select the yellow pepper or orangish pepper, I would need to get back on the original layer, zoom in, and begin to select from there. Making sure I'm using the quick selection tool and painting from the middle outward, refine my edge, smooth that out a little bit, which basically smooths the pixels. Edit copy, edit paste. And then Control 0 fits on the screen. I will select layer 2, which is my orange pepper, move that up here. I want to arrange that in my green. The way that you move these from top to bottom, or so if I want my orange pepper on top of my green pepper, in order to do that, I have to use my layers. So I will pull my orange pepper and drag it above my green pepper. And you will continue to do this for all 7 of these peppers. Once they are all selected, you will then go to the internet, any site you wish. Probably Google Images would be a good site. And you are going to look for a cutting board. If you don't want to use a cutting board and you want to do something a little more creative, feel free to do so. It just needs to make sense. So for example, if you would like to do a plant and have the peppers hanging off of a plant, you could do that. Or a bowl if you want the peppers in a bowl, whatever you wish. I'm going to just choose a cutting board. I'll click on that to make that large. Right click to save image as, and then I will go into, you will do the USB folder. You're going to save that, toggle back to Photoshop, and you want to open that new file. So you're going to do File, Open, go to your this PC USB where you've saved, which yours should be right over here, and you're going to open up that new file. Once that opens, you will want to drag that file over and drop. Okay, so there are several ways to do that. You can either click on this. This is called undocking, where you drag it off of the top and then click and drag it over. Okay, that's one way. So I'm redocking this. Or you can simply click and hold on the image, come up to your other picture, drag down and drop. So there are actually more ways than just these 2 that I've showed you, but these 2 are the easiest, I think. So once you have all of your peppers, you will arrange them how you want them to be on your cutting board. So by the way, this little option up here, Auto Select, if you have that checked, that means that you can just click in here and move your objects whenever you wish or however you want. If you don't have that selected, you then have to go, every time you want to choose a different object, you have to come over to the Layers panel to choose that particular object. It doesn't automatically happen. So you may want to practice using auto select a little bit, so you can just come in and click around to get your objects selected and move them. Or if that becomes tricky for you, you can just click on the layer to then arrange and move. If you have any questions, please just raise your hand and ask.